Previously on Miss Austen, we're jumping back and forth in time with the Austen family. Jane and Cassandra, as young people, are dealing with romance and a lack thereof and death. And then we jump to the future, and Jane has passed. Cassandra's dealing with another family tragedy with Isabella, and there's more romance, and there's more tragedy, and there's more fun to be had. So let's get to episode 2 this week on the Lords of Grantham podcast.
I got my toes in the water, ass in the sand, not a worry in a world, a cold beer in my hand. Life is good today. Life is good today.
And we are back again, episode 2 of Miss Austen. Corey, what is going on?
Not too much, Dave. Just a rainy day out here in New York. How about you, Dave?
It's a rainy day in Connecticut. Not as rainy. We didn't get a lot of rain, but it was fine.
One of them days.
One of them days. We have any news to report on the front of our shows? I know we kind of had our big news last week.
No, the only news that I saw is that Hugh Bonneville is joining a TV show on Netflix. He's joining Guy Ritchie's The Gentleman.
Oh, wow. Theo James is on that show, right?
He is. So he will be crossing paths with Kamal Pamuk again.
And his daughter was in the movie.
Right, Michelle Dockery was in the movie The Gentleman, but not the TV show The Gentleman.
Yeah.
So, yeah, this will be the second season. It's a pretty popular show. We've seen the movie. I have not watched the show yet.
No, I didn't love the movie, so
me neither.
The show didn't seem too interesting for me.
No, but I am intrigued by the idea of Hugh Bonneville playing a gangster, potentially.
Yeah, because I feel like every time he's out... We did watch that, the I Came By, the horror movie with him.
Oh, gosh. That was terrible.
But I feel like everything we see him in, it's always like, aside from that, it's variations of a patriarch.
Yeah, happy to be here.
Yeah,
a familial man.
Paddington, he's like the, risk-averse patriarch. Downton, he's the also kind of risk-averse patriarch. Mm-hmm. Let's see him be a gangster. Who knows? Maybe he'll be a risk-averse patriarch.
Yeah, he doesn't stray too far from the roles we know him as in a gangster, mafia-related show. But that's pretty much in terms of the news this week. It's been pretty quiet otherwise.
Now, here's a question that I have for you. Because it was your idea to bring this show to our listeners because of its success. Now, I'm not super tapped into like Twitter anymore or any of like, you're a big publications guy as far as you've always read like known statistics of how things do. How is Miss Austen being received?
It's a good question, Dave.
Or how was it received initially? I know people really liked it, but
So it only came out in February in the BBC. Actually, in March. Pardon me. It looked like it garnered a few million viewers, but I don't think it was a runaway hit that they were hoping.
Okay, so this is going to be like an evergreen miniseries that we do. That Austen heads are going to go back to it.
That's the hope. That's people will discover this after the fact.
Well, it's like, and I'm not trying to put you on the spot either, but I know like this is it's a stacked cast. It's very well made. And Austen, I just saw some trailer for another movie about Jane Austen that's coming out. Like, Jane Austen never goes away.
Right. I mean, she's got enduring popularity. The Pride and Prejudice, the Keira Knightley version, was just released after 20 years for its anniversary, and it's been making money at the box office because, I mean, there's still a lot of love for that movie. Yeah, it looks like this show only garnered a couple million viewers, and then in its first episode, and then kind of dragged from there. Good thing they only made this 4 episodes because I don't know how long they could have withstood poor ratings for it. But I think it did get some attention. At least when you go on IMDb, over 1,000 people rated it, which is pretty good in terms of popularity. It's 156 on the TV show rankings of all TV shows out there. So it's not like it's completely dead. And the other thing to keep in mind too with Jane Austen is as popular as she is in Britain, she is beloved abroad. That's why we keep seeing a lot of these shows and movies about her, because everyone just loves her writing. So if the BBC and the Britain, and if it didn't do well, this Miss Austen show, it's based off a book originally. Sorry for them, but hey, we got it. We're here for it. So I don't mind.
Well, let's not waste any more time talking about numbers and ratings and reviews. Let's just jump in to episode 2. So when we last left our story, our protagonist, Cassie, had just realized that her sister-in-law had tried to deceive her other sister-in-law, her sister, Eliza.
Well, 1 second here. Okay.
Yes.
I think we lost the listeners if we were trying to catch them up. So Cassandra, as an adult, is reading the letters that Mary had written to their mutual friend, Mary's sister, but her friend Eliza.
Yeah.
And was talking about how devastated young Cassie, Cassandra as a kid, Cassie, was to find out that her husband had died at sea.
Her fiancé. Her betrothed.
Right. And so she said that, oh yeah, she was just hysterical, crying and all that. But Cassandra knows that was not what happened. And also seeing the details in her letter that that Mary did not seem to appreciate the relationship of the Austen sisters, how close they were. She realizes, oh, Mary's maybe not been on our side the entire time. So it's a small revelation for her that, like, oh, she's not a friend or as close as I thought we were.
Yeah, and I know
shouldn't trust her.
Last week I kind of downplayed this in my analysis, and I think in revisiting it, I think that I did kind of get it right. I just didn't think it was that big of a deal. But
because it is
clearly
towards the end of the episode.
I think the implications are a lot heavier than the sheer act of the deception.
Yeah, there's something going on here. And, for my viewing of this episode, usually when I watch our TV shows, I'm taking notes throughout, just stay on top of and refer to later. This is a show where a lot of details are in the narration and who's talking and what they're choosing to tell you. And so I did something I don't usually do. Is I didn't take notes while watching. I was locked in.
Okay.
Because I needed to know who was speaking, who was saying what in these letters. And then only afterwards I go back, take some notes, read up on what I watched to make sure I got it right, and clarify on that.
And I feel like this episode didn't have a kind of, like, we said it last week, and we say it when we start new shows all the time. You got to give us a little leeway getting used to who's who and the relationships. So I already feel a little bit more comfortable because they're not throwing too many new characters at us this week.
No, it's a small set of characters here. But we start off with Cassandra going through more letters. Meanwhile, Mary is stalking around the grounds, because she knows there's some letters she needs to see that Eliza stored somewhere that are of relevance, maybe some that Jane had written. And Cassandra, she turns the tables a little bit on Mary. She says, there's no letters. Can't find them. Don't know where they are. If she can lie, she can lie right back to her, Isabella, this episode, she's still a mess. Yeah, well, I mean, she's and I think what you said about who we're talking to really does shine through with the Isabella of it all. And we'll get there when we get there, but it seems as though she doesn't know what's going to happen to her in the next couple weeks. Yeah. And I have questions about the Dinah relationship with everything. Clearly, she's going to play into how this whole thing goes down, and there's a reason she's so hostile towards Cassandra. But our girl over here, Isabella, is struggling. Yeah,
and she's not
ready for Dundas.
Well, yeah, she's not. No one's ready for Dundas. No one is.
No one is ever ready for
Who's
Dundas.
ready for Dundas?
No, the vicar's going to come take this house. He's going to inherit all the china, including
No,
that dish she
he's
just
not
broke on
inheriting the
ground.
china. Her brother is inheriting it.
Right.
But all the stuff that is like her, it's basically like taking your life and giving it to somebody else. Your furniture, your china, your I don't know what else. Your art on the wall, everything that you're comfortable
home.
with. Yeah, your home, and you're giving it to some Mr. Collins type, some bumbling idiot
Exactly.
who just gets to be the preacher.
It's so funny, time and again, they are often painted as the fools of the town, these religious types, or ones that can be put upon. Can only imagine what that means. Can only imagine how they really feel about him. But continuing that through line of Mary having a one-track mind here, she doesn't really care that Isabella's going through it.
No,
She's still like, I need to find the letters. Where are the letters?
and she's giving Eliza or Isabella all of these odd jobs to do, and Dinah as well. Isabella drops the china and breaks the china because she's stressed, and we learn from one of her sisters that she's endured a lot of abuse, emotional abuse, and she doesn't know what's next for her, and she's Dinah's just trying to help her, and Mary's like, hey, I need you to go get this stuff ready for me right now. I need you to do this for me. And Mary, I think the revelation is more like, oh, now we know that there's a little bit of sinister motivations behind her relationship with us versus she just doesn't quite get along with us.
Right. She's in it for herself to everyone else's detriment. The next scene, we're going in order of this episode so far, but Isabella's walking into town and she runs by Mr. Litterdale.
Litterdale, yeah.
Dean Thomas from Harry Potter is how I'll refer to him.
Enoch.
He's the doc. Exactly.
Is he a doctor? He's Mr. Wouldn't he be Dr. Litterdale?
He could be, but I mean, like on Poldark, did we call Poldark
Dr. Dwight? Yes.
Friend? We did call him Dr. Dwight. That's true.
Also, a question about Litterdale. Is this colorblind casting, or is he supposed to be a minority? They really don't make it a thing. Clearly, he's quasi-flirting with Isabella.
Yeah. I am not educated enough to say. I'll just go off of what we've seen in our TV shows. Judging that we just watched a Downton Abbey episode a few weeks back of Cousin Rose dating Jack Ross.
Which is 100 years after this.
and that was irksome for some. I would venture to say that maybe this isn't the norm back then, but I welcome it anyways for a TV show.
Obviously, I welcome it. And it's not gimmick.
Drama.
It's definitely not gimmickry the way that Bridgerton is like, we are going above and beyond to include all these. I
wouldn't say it's gimmick. Well, I wouldn't call that gimmickry in Bridgerton, though.
Well,
I wouldn't say
it's
that at
intentional.
all.
Not gimmickry is the wrong word.
Sure. Yeah, it's intentional because it's like a version of reclaiming it, of like, why do only white people be portrayed in these stories? Why can't it be more open? And
then we learned in Queen Charlotte
maybe,
that it is a plot point. So yeah, Bridgerton, neither here nor there. I don't mean anything negative calling it a gimmick. It's a decision,
No.
Creative decision.
It's a feature. But the thing that makes it funny here is Litterdale. He says to Isabella, "Hey, how you doing? Your dad's, gone or not? Yeah, your dad's gone. Are you okay? Things are being changed around your house." And she's like, "I'm fine. All's okay. Mm-hmm. Don't worry about it." Even though she looks visibly distraught.
Oh yeah,
a mess. Yeah. It's a rainy day. It's like, oh yeah, believe this woman when she tells you everything's fine when she just looks like her world is falling down.
Oh yeah.
And Litterdale's just kind of like watches her as she walks off, like, yeah, there's something off with that lady.
Yeah,
there's something about her though. There's something about her.
Litterdale's like, now that's my kind of crazy.
I like a woman who's down on her luck. That's my kind of woman. Well, what's next, Dave? Do you want to keep going in order?
Do you want to do the entire sort of current timeline before flashing back?
Yeah, let's keep going through the current timeline.
So we see Cassandra goes to visit one
Mary Jane.
of what sister is it first? Mary Jane.
Mary Jane.
Dexter. And she's the one with the house that looks like the Airbnb we stayed at a few years ago. The menagerie. Relics of the Empire.
Well,
we have a taxidermy
Dinah
monkey.
warns her.
Excuse me?
Yeah, Dinah warns her. The maid warns her before going there, like, don't roll up on Mary Jane unannounced. You should give her a heads up that, like, you're coming through, because she's a little bit odd. She's a little bit off. And like you said, Dave, we get the telltale signs of her being off with all the taxidermy everywhere.
A monkey.
Monkey, Toucan Sam,
A jaguar.
Tony the Tiger, Chocula, like they're all there.
Chocula.
Oh, I'm sorry, I got carried away with the
cereal mask.
animals.
Yeah, I guess so. Lucky the leprechaun.
Yeah, he was
Wendell the
taxidermied.
baker is her staff.
Yep, the Keebler elves there in the shelves. She's a cookie girl though. This Mary Jane.
Yeah.
Because she tells Cassandra, like, Cassandra tells her about Isabella's struggles and she needs to find a home. And, one of the last wishes of Fulworth was to pair Isabella off with one of her sisters. And Mary Jane's like, I can take her in. No worry. No, all good.
Mm-hmm.
And Cassandra's like, yeah, I don't know about that.
And I believe it's she is Mary Jane is the one that says, it's not all going right in her head. She's has her troubles.
She's kind of like the crazy cat lady on The Simpsons who just hurls cats at people when they come by.
So yeah, she's not a reliable, like you said, whoever's saying things, there's no reliability in any of these characters. You're just sort of like, okay. Even Cassandra to a certain extent, as we see later on in the episode, she's definitely has her own agenda.
They're all going through it. They're all going through some trauma. Is this when? Well, so we get some background here because Cassandra goes back to Dinah, and this is where she starts to tell her that Fulworth was never really kind to Isabella. He was always shouting for her. Mm-hmm. She was just kind of at the beck and call of what he needs, and so she's very fragile. And so Cassandra's like, I really got to help her. Mary Jane may not have been it. Let me go see about her other sister.
And we know that Mary Austen is they're doing this kind of behind her back. When she goes down for a nap is when Cassandra ducks out to go talk to the sisters. Mm-hmm. And not that she denies it, because she does tell Mary to her face, but at the same time, she's operating under, like, a little discreetly to go do this stuff.
Oh, yeah. It's like when I had two roommates, and I didn't like one of them. And so I just started looking for apartments with the plans to move out without telling them. And that's exactly what I did. It wasn't like we weren't ever going to move out away from each other, because that was very much going to happen. But I was like, they don't need to know what they don't want. They don't need to know.
Oh, sure.
Bye-bye. And so when Cassandra goes to see Beth, we see that Beth is actually an associate of Litterdale, where they work to save people.
Well, we see that she owns, is a teacher. She runs the school, but the school is closed because there's this sickness afoot. And
diphtheria.
Yeah. And
doesn't look like a good kind of virus.
Yeah, and we see that she is helping Litterdale with patients.
Yeah.
And I like that Cassie, she's just walking through the streets and she goes, "Hey, yeah, I need to see Isabella's sister." She's in the streets and some little boy's like, "She's that way in that house." And it's like, "Oh, sure."
Just knows where she's at. But Cassandra kind of susses out quickly. This is not the right time to maybe ask Beth about taking in Isabella here.
And I think Beth is understanding but flustered. She's like, I got to see you when I can show you around the school, show you how things are going. And that's that.
I got a lot going on in my life.
Yeah. But then when we go back to the house, Mary's like, what were you doing in that part of town? Cassandra's like, Beth is helping out Litterdale with these people that are, like for some reason they remember the woman's name who's suffering. I didn't write it down, but they're like, oh yeah, they were helping her. And Mary's like, why? Who cares about the lower class? That's not us.
Yeah.
They're not like us.
She does not care about them one iota. And I think when we cut back to Cassandra at the end of this episode, she's reading the letters again. We'll get to those flashbacks in a moment. She passes out because she may have contracted a bit of that diphtheria.
Oh, yeah.
From the patients. Because they told her when she was in there, like, get back. You don't want what they got here. This is bad news for you. And she's like, I kind of want it. It looks like it'll put you down.
Yeah.
The cliffhanger we leave the episode on is that
the drawer is open.
She tries to hide the letters because she doesn't want Mary to see these, but the drawer is open and she is passed out.
And we also we skipped over the fireplace scene where I think this is like, if you didn't know that Mary is the worst of these characters, this scene is like, she's the absolute worst. And the scene at the fireplace is kind of the point of the snowball rolling down the hill where Cassandra we start to see the drama of the past, where we see at first they're talking about reading, what's the Jane Austen book that she's reading to?
Persuasion. Yeah,
Persuasion. And all these Elizas and Isabellas. Isabella's like, can you read me more of this book? And Mary's like, what about if you read my husband's poetry? And we see Isabella's like, no. Like, Jane Austen understands the human experience and love better than anybody else. And then not only do we see Dinah kind of melting with like curiosity outside of the door with her ear to the door, we see that Mary makes a comment and says, well, Jane was not a woman who was never in love. There was that summer that you guys were at the water that you both fought over the same man. And we see it's just like a light bulb moment for Cassandra. She goes, what are you talking about? And that sort of kickstarts everything, which leads to, what winds up being Cassandra passing out in the modern time. So I think that's that scene. And also
key detail
in that scene, we see Mary's like, hey, can you put wood on the fire, Isabella? Can you also give me a blanket? Can you also give me a cushion? And she's just like a miserable pain in this.
It's like she's assuming the role of Forworth, where she's just asking Isabella to do everything for her.
Meanwhile, it's not her house. She's not helping clean up. She's just there looking around for these revelation letters from Jane.
And so that does dovetail into us going backwards to talk about what happened in the past. So rewinding back, even before we talk about the triangle that Mary alludes to between Cassandra and Jane, we follow up on last where we last left Cassie. Her fiance has passed away. She's beside herself, and so they think it's best for her to maybe go away to their brother Edward's home, and just take some time to kind of collect herself there. They have it's a different sister-in-law than Mary that they have there because it's a different brother. But the idea is that maybe Cassie can help play with the kids while the mom enjoys like a respite. She doesn't have to always be the mom there.
Is that Anna Austen?
I think so. Yeah. Now, Dave, with a new child of your own, would you invite a lady who recently lost her fiance to watch your child?
Well, there's a lot more context there. If it was a family member who had, well, I think that you see kind of the deception of what's going on, where it's presented to Cassie as a sort of reprieve from everything that she knew. You see her in the carriage ride looking at the scenery going like, wow, this is beautiful. I really like this. But then you see that Anna and Edward are like really not, they're negligent when she gets there. They're like, oh, go be with your aunt. Go be with your aunt. And I think the way that they treat her is terrible. I would let someone come take care of my child if they're grieving. I don't think the grief affects the child care. If it did, I would not want that. But I would not treat a family member the way that these two are treating Cassandra.
Right, because even Jane is envious in her letter that she is writing to to Cassandra like, oh, you're gonna have all these plots of land that you can enjoy and have fun with, and it's like it's not exactly that.
No,
because it really comes to a head where Cassandra asks to go for a walk in the garden outside, and sister-in-law Austen's like, I don't think that's a good idea. That's not that great of an idea. And then she goes in and talks to her husband. And she's like, she's got to go. she can't be here. She's still depressed. And that's when Cassandra's like,
no, I think she wants her there to take care of the kids, but then she wants her to take care of the kids, but then her family is coming for dinner, and she goes, oh, no, she can't eat with us.
Right.
We got to bring the food up to her.
Yeah.
But then we see that Eliza and Jane hatch the plan to get her out of there. That
Eliza, it's clear she's not wanted.
Yeah, well, it's clear that she's being manipulated to be the spinster aunt, as she said, to be like a free nanny for the rest of her life. So they hatch this plan to get her out to go and take care of the baby. And you see when she leaves, she's in the carriage and she's smiling. But then it immediately cuts to her helping deliver Isabella. And it's like, oh my God, this is just as intense.
Yeah, she's right back in it to being the aunt attending the kids here. And when when Cassandra helps to deliver Isabella, she sees the father and
the Reverend,
Fulworth, and he's not too pleased to have another daughter. He just kind of stalks off when he learns it's a daughter. It's like, oh, come on, dude.
And then we see a few shots of Cassandra, a young Cassandra with an infant Isabella, which I think is a really nice thing that we're not kind of putting a lot of weight on in the present day. That Isabella's not very
connection. Yeah,
that there's a sort of maternal care between Cassandra and Isabella. So this was a very important moment to me, especially, you want to tug at my new dad heartstrings. It's like anyone that's taking care of my kid is like, you're good. I appreciate these people.
Yeah. Can you stick around and become a spinster aunt, please? We'd appreciate the free labor.
But then we see Mary and James pull up with apparently they have like a 12-year-old daughter, Annie. And they're like, hey.
Well, remember, this is the daughter of his
James,
deceased wife. Right, because James needed a new woman to kind of become a mother-in-law.
Yes, I forgot that in the moment. So
yeah.
So Jane and Cassandra are like, why don't we help out and why don't we bring Annie with us to a little summer season at the water.
And that's where we see too that Mary doesn't have any patience for this kid. She doesn't seem to really care about this.
Yeah, she's like, go for it, get out of here. You don't need to be around me.
Take care of him. Don't need it. And is it around this time where they're just at the beach having fun because there's like seashells that they're playing with and stuff? And is that where they meet Mr. Hobday?
So we see Jane is a little bit of a she's being Jane. She's off in her own head with her thoughts about whatever she's thinking about. So Cassandra and Annie disappear, and they bump into Hobday at the fabric store. They have a little meet cute where their hands touch on the door.
And yeah, he just seems like a friendly, tall bloke.
Nice guy.
And yeah, and they'll see him around town. A lot. You also see that Jane. Yeah, Jane and Cassandra are also tending to their mother. Mrs. Hughes, or I guess we can just call her Senior
Mrs.
Miss Austen. Yeah. And when I say Miss Hughes, I mean Miss Hughes from Downton Abbey. That's Phyllis Logan.
Yeah, and the old little dude goon from Pirates is there too, Mr. Austen.
Yeah, and she's just over a bout of what does she keep calling Dilius?
There's too many diseases. I don't write down the names of the diseases these people had.
She makes a joke about how not even a joke. She had to clear out her bowels, and that's how she had to get over the sickness.
Yep. Good bit. Good to hear Mrs. Hughes talk about her bowels in a more stuffy show than Downton Abbey.
Yeah, and they're hanging out with her, and they're at the beach, and Mr. Hobday bumps into them there, all three Austens, and I paid close attention to Jane in this scene because we already gotten the information from Mary that Jane may have had the hots for Hobday that Cassandra was vying for, but you just look at Jane's body language in this scene, and she's looking at this guy, but it's not like lust or desire or anything like that. She's just kind of like, this is a tall dude. and it seems like she's kind of looking at her sister a little bit, like she's eyeing him up. There doesn't seem to be anything that suggests that Jane is actually interested in this man. And so after that meeting, though, because he's met the mother, he's met Jane and her, they're encouraging Cassandra to get some new clothes. She's been wearing a lot of black. She's
in mourning. Yeah, she's still in mourning. And she's this is all in. There's this whole situation where like you feel for Cassandra because she did make this pledge that I'm not going to marry again, even though her man R.I.P. said go for it, get out there. But
yeah,
it's really not until push comes to shove that she gets this really nice yellow outfit.
I mean, what says you're back than wearing yellow, right?
It's bold. It's bold. It's like the sun, as Annie
it's flashy.
says.
Yeah, she looks beautiful in it. And is that where we leave things with her and Hobday? Like she's going to go approach him again?
Well, they go on like a date, or they meet at the beach, and then it kind of cuts.
Yeah. See where it goes from there.
Yeah. And then we flash forward to the letters and the
because. Yeah, right. Because that's where we leave things. Are we overlooking anything there? Like,
I think there might be a little more nuance in how we meet Hobday's mom.
We do, who takes him to tea, and she's the one who lets him know that he's into books, of all types.
He's a
and
dweeb.
And that may spread the idea that, he may be into Jane because he likes reading books and all that. But we do learn in Jane's letters to Eliza that Cassie is in love. She's aware that her sister has the hots for this guy.
Yeah. So I'm curious how this all gets skewed in Mary's point of view to Jane wanted a piece.
Right, because Cassie's very much arm in arm with Hobday walking off. So, obviously, it must evolve in the next episode for Mary to get this idea that there is something there, unless she's just trying to gaslight Cassandra into misremembering the past.
Yeah. Which who knows? You really don't know, and I don't want to believe that, but hey, stranger things have happened in these period dramas.
Yep. Oh yeah, and it was Hobday. Hobday read books to his father, who was dying of a tumor. That's what he. I think that was what he did.
Mm-hmm.
Or no, he took care of his mother after her husband died of a tumor. That's what it was to the mom. Anyways, a lot of characters telling us stories secondhand.
Yep.
In this episode,
and unreliable narrators. I think this was a night. I think I have a lot of times have an issue with like season ones not wrapping things, like feeling a little unfamiliar throughout most of the season. But I feel like this did a great job of like diving back in. I'm comfortable with these people. I'm understanding them a little bit more.
Yeah, I will say it felt a little exposition heavy in terms of having to relay information to us, telling us about things that had happened instead of just seeing it roll out. And I think that may just be because of the narrative structure of the letters telling us what's going on exactly.
And you got to figure this Hobday situation has to be with us for the next 2 episodes. Like, this is a 4-episode show. We can't. This can't be done in 5 minutes next week. Like, this has to be a real heavy plot.
Because Cassandra's alone today, so something happens to him. But as exposition heavy as this was, I do appreciate that it's setting the table for a lot of different story strands here, and it does make me wonder too. Like, there's a lot going on here to wrap up within 4 episodes, and I'm sure we'll get there somehow really fast and be looking at the end of next week and saying, oh, okay, well, I guess there's not much more to wrap up, but it really feels like there's a lot to resolve in the next couple episodes between what does Mary really want from these letters, at the heart of it? What is Cassandra trying to learn for herself? How did Cassie and Jane get to where we are today?
Uh-huh.
I do have a good idea, though.
Where will
why
Isabella end up?
Yeah. What will happen to Isabella? But I do have a good idea why the letters need to go, because Mary can't have them. I get that.
Mm-hmm.
But can't wait to get there when we get there with whatever blaze of glory that is.
Yeah, literally.
But it is funny, though, because this episode, at least for the older Cassandra, very modest advancement in terms of her story.
Uh-huh.
It's literally her just looking for a place for Isabella to stay and
Getting sick?
seeing that, and getting sick. And Mary's obnoxious in the middle. It's really heavy on elements of the past to try and feel like there's some progression in where the story's going. But hey, maybe that's the point of it, is that,
Yeah, there's so much going on. Some things can move at different paces.
Yeah. Well, we got power rankings for this week, right, Dave?
Yeah. You want to get us started this week?
Yeah. Well, number 3 going down, I got Old Mary. Because as much as Mary may be searching the house for letters, she ain't finding them. Mm-hmm. And she's just a miserable, annoying person for everyone around her. So, yeah.
Okay.
Number 3 going down is Mary.
Well, I got Elizabeth Austen, that's the sister-in-law, because she thought she was going to get a free ride of having her 4 kids running around, and her sister-in-law is taking care of them on the house for free. And she can tell her to go sit in her bedroom when her mom and dad come over. But then when she wants to go for a walk, she goes, oh, no, you got to take care of the kids. And Jane and Eliza make sure that does not happen, and they save her. So screw you for taking advantage of a woman in mourning. You stink.
Well, I thought about her, but then I also hear the story from parents. They'll appreciate any hours that they can get back to themselves. And she probably got a few hours back to herself.
That's true. She's conniving, though. Conniving hours.
That's true. Number 2 going down, I got Isabella. She's a mess.
Yeah, I have her too.
She don't know
Same
where she's going
spot.
to wind up. Who knows where she's going to wind up, honestly, and she seems very much out of control of her destiny. Number 1 going down, literally physically going down, is Cassandra. She fell to the ground.
Okay.
She's a mess. Also, she's sick. Her letters may be exposed that she's trying to keep hidden from Mary. And she doesn't succeed at finding a place for Isabella to land. So, there we go.
All right. Well, I had Mary at number 1 because I think she spends this whole episode being awful. And,
okay.
I think Cassie, there's a chance, but I also happen to just leave PBS running for the next time on. So I saw the first couple sentences implies that certain things that we might assume about what happens to Cassie do or do not happen. I don't want to get into it for people that don't want spoilers.
Oh, boy.
But, Mary, she spends the whole episode kind of, everyone's doing things around her to avoid her. Mm-hmm. And she does the moment when, I think she lashes out all the time, and I think it's a bad look. I think everybody doesn't like her, and she knows it now. I think that's the one thing that I think makes it the worst week for her. She is aware that people are onto her BS. So, yeah, rough go.
Well, that's who's going down. Who's going up, Dave?
I got our new friend Hobday going at number 3.
Sure.
He comes in. We got a nice meet cute. He's a nerd. He's a dweeb. He gets his picture drawn on the beach. He has a lot of the same interests. He's great with kids. He seems to be on the level. And I think we don't know. We don't know what happens, but at this moment, it's welcome aboard. Even though clearly something goes down right now, you're cool to me.
Sure, that's fair. Well, at number 3 going up, I got senior Miss Austen.
Okay.
Phyllis Logan.
She's in the clear.
Mrs. Hughes. She's cleared out the gas from her system. She'll be fine. She's no longer sick. And also I appreciated her encouragement to Cassandra to get it together.
Yeah.
Get some clothes.
Yeah. Get
Clean
that black off. You don't need to be in mourning
Yeah.
forever.
And also her conversation too with is it Hobday's mother? It was pretty charming too, where she's like, "Oh, what did he die of? His father." A tumor. Oh, well, I was just sick myself. Oh, okay.
I pooped it out.
Yeah, she pooped it out. Well, who's number 2, Dave?
I got Jane.
I got Jane also.
The move of helping get her out of the in-laws' house for Cassandra is so like, that's some real good sibling stuff right there. That's the kind of stuff you want your sibling to do for you.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
And I think she's a great.
Be there for your siblings.
I think
sometimes.
Whatever Mary is saying about them fighting over Hobday, clearly Jane is on team Cassie, and I appreciate that.
Mm-hmm.
Good sister all
Absolutely.
around, and great writer. Even as she's dead, her sister is telling her niece about how great her books are. While
Jane, yeah.
While her other sister-in-law is like, "No, you should read your brother's stuff too," and it's like, "Nah, no one wants anything to do with that."
Read it up, Anna. Well, Dave, who's number 1 going up then?
I got young Cass. She comes out of mourning.
Okay.
That's a huge like the way that these shows present mourning. It's the season. It's this horrible thing, and we see obviously she spends the beginning of the episode in this situation, but I think by the end of the episode she realizes she deserves love too. Like she initially pushes Hobday off on Jane and says like, "I can't marry. I'm done. I'm out of the game." Yep. And they slowly convince her like, "No, you're a viable human being too. Go for it."
Yeah. I mean, good for young Cassie, but I got Mr. Hobday at number 1. He's the guy who shakes her up to wake her up to get out of her slumber. He is the reason why Stella got her groove back, because he's nice to their niece Anna. He likes strolls on the beach. He likes to read books. Everyone's eyeing him up, and yeah, man, he's a hunk of man that they need right now.
Sure, great.
He must have made an impression for Mary to even think of him years later. So.
Well, Mary's that cousin though. Mary's that cousin that remembers.
That cousin.
She's that one that'll tell you about the time you had too much to drink and made a fool of yourself, and you're like, I haven't thought about that in 15 years.
Yeah, and she looks aged compared to her. She's supposed to be like almost a little bit younger, I think, than the Austen sisters. She looks aged by the time they get to her older version of the show. It's
a casting decision. Looks like she's been smoking too many cigarettes or something like that. Could be.
But you know what they say: hate and negativity and evil makes you grow old.
Yeah,
it may be true here. I don't know. That is this week on Austen. Pretty good episode.
Yeah.
Still intrigued to see where it goes. 2 more weeks of it. Dave, have you been watching anything else?
Not too much, but I did watch some movies that are worth noting. That I also saw Sinners, but some of the patrons want us to talk about it, so maybe in a bonus episode we'll talk a little Sinners on Patreon. Among other things. I don't want to do a whole breakdown of that movie because too fresh in my mind. I might have forgotten things. But on the subject of movies, another movie celebrated a 20th anniversary milestone, and that is to follow up on our May the 4th discussion. I rewatched Star Wars Episode 2, Attack of the Clones, and Star Wars Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith in the past week. And
we talked about Attack of the Clones last week.
Yes, we did. Terrible. And Episode 3 was a movie that I really enjoyed for a good chunk of my life. If you had told me, I don't know, when did I watch it? Like last Wednesday and Thursday night or whenever, over 2 nights I watched it. If you said like the day before, like, do you think you're going to like it? And I would say, I probably will. Did not like it.
You wanted to see it in theaters.
I wanted to, and I would have.
Uh-huh.
It doesn't hold up to me. I think it's so clunky.
Oh, boy.
George Lucas, I remember I love that movie.
When that movie came out, I was still out. I was like, Attack of the Clones didn't work, this didn't work. And you were telling me, because you went to the midnight showing, like the opening of Revenge of the Sith, and you're like, people were doing lightsaber battles in the parking lot, man. It was amazing.
Maybe that's why I liked it. But these movies...
The in-person lightsaber battles.
Yeah, these movies are so... Like, I don't know if we have listeners that are... And we discussed this at length in our group chat, but... our generation, we're born in 1988, so we're aging ourselves. Yeah. But we are like truly the last generation to only have 3 Star Wars movies for our formative years.
THX versions on VHS.
Yep.
Not even the special effects of special edition stuff.
When the special edition came out, that was like the full dopamine shot of like this is Star Wars, man.
So exciting.
And then, when we got episode 1, even think about that. Well, we had episode 1 alone from 5th grade or 6th grade all the way till freshman year of high school. So,
Attack of the Clones came out in the 8th grade, so we're still in junior
8th
high.
grade.
Yeah.
Okay. But so we still had those impressionable years to only have 3 really great Star Wars movies and 1 bad Star Wars movie, but we were kids, so we liked it. And then, from then on out, Star Wars stinks. I mean, it stinks with episode 1, but episode 3 is like they just go places for no reason. We go to the Wookiee planet just to have a shot of Chewbacca.
It was funny. Like, this is where I knew I was like too in deep. Where it came out in 2005. I played Knights of the Old Republic, the Xbox RPG that's much beloved. In that game, they call the planet Kashyyyk. That's where the Wookiees come from, Kashyyyk. And then in the Revenge of the Sith, they say Kashyyyk, and I was like, George Lucas doesn't even know his own lore anymore, man. Like,
oh yeah, he doesn't care.
He may be the guy who writes it. Yeah, he doesn't at all.
Like imagine if like Julian Fellows was just like, yeah, like what if the Dowager Countess was a dark-haired woman who had no power in the world, and she married somebody that was, and it just like totally skewed the narrative of what you grew up thinking. And I think kids today, people that are in their 20s and early 30s and younger, this is all they ever knew. But for us, we knew a world where we had the power of speculation. And to me, watching these movies is like killing the imagination of children in favor of computer-generated tomfoolery. So I'll stop my Star Wars rant.
No, I know, but it is a thing where, like, when that movie came out, almost instantaneously, the day after, everyone was mocking Vader, saying, no! And I don't know if that registers with the kids or the people younger than us. Like, that is dumb. It still is dumb. It's just so cartoonish for a character who's supposed to be menacing. I didn't like that movie when it came out. I haven't revisited it. I don't know. But it's funny, though, because, like...
It's infinitely watchable, but it's not good.
It's a mystery to me how the Clone Wars animated series is so good to me in my mind.
Well, yeah, it has to be, because you have to clean up this mess.
Yeah, and they certainly do. I've been watching Star Wars stuff too. I watched Tales of the Underworld, the new short series that they released. They've been doing this like almost every year, where they have Tales of the Jedi, Tales of the Empire, this time Underworld. And I'm always more attracted to like the Han Solo stuff when there's not Jedi and Sith involved. Because it's just a rich world. One story follows a character from Clone Wars. It's Asajj Ventress. It's not worth getting into. But they follow Cad Bane, who's like the outlaw gangster, and they show his origins. He is one of the bleakest stories I've seen in Star Wars. It's like about these two friends that get separated, and Cad Bane's on one side of the law and his friend's on the other. And the way that story wraps up, it's like 3 15-minute episodes, not even like 12. It's really good. It's really short. Right. And I recommend it. It's just good storytelling. But otherwise, Andor's been on. And tonight's the finale when we're recording this, and I cannot wait, because the 3 episodes that ramped up to these last 3 that are going to lead right into Rogue One, oh my God. We're back, man. Star Wars is so back, Dave. Put down those prequels.
I'm a few behind because I wanted to watch the prequels, so I got some catching up to do.
Watch some other prequels.
There's only one other prequel, and I saw it in theaters last year, so I'm not watching. I'm done with the prequels.
Wait, what was the other prequel?
Episode 1. I had the only one I didn't rewatch.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we don't need to go back there. But yeah, I'm watching the Light and Magic documentary series.
I heard it's good.
Came out in 2022. It's fantastic. Like, the first 2 episodes are just solely dedicated to how George Lucas recruited this bunch to create all the visual effects for Star Wars, and how much of a nightmare it was for them. And then it keeps going from there, like Empire Strikes Back. Then they go on to like eventually talk about Jurassic Park and stuff. Like, it just goes on about ILM and how they came to be. And
what's that streaming on?
Disney Plus.
All right, I'm gonna have to watch that after Andor.
It really underscores too that Lucas is just lucky to have, or has had savvy taste to curate the right people to realize his vision. Because like the artistry that goes into all this it's so much more than just what George Lucas brought to the table.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they really embellished it to make it something that's indelible to this day. So, okay, enough Star Wars talk.
Enough Star Wars talk.
You know where to find us: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Hit us up at lordsgrantham@gmail.com if you want to talk to us. You can find us on our Lords Grantham Lounge as part of our Patreon with some bonus content. Leave a 5-star rating review if you so choose on Spotify, iTunes, wherever you get our podcasts. You can find our whole archive on our Podbean website. Otherwise, we will catch you next time on the pod.